A very good afternoon and warm greetings to one and all present here. Hope everyone is safe and healthy. Starting with a beautiful quote is always worthwhile as it transforms any situation into a lively, motivating, and a positive one. Here is a famous quote I would like to share in this beautiful day. If you can speak, you can influence. If you can influence, you can change lives. With that being said, I hope I lifted your spreads up. I am pleased to introduce myself as Ms. Niveda Rajat, Assistant Professor from the Department of Human Resource Management, and I feel ecstatic to take up this lovely task of hosting today's program. It's the matter of immense pride and pleasure to have you all here for a webinar on digital transformation and the workplace, organized by the Department of Human Resource Management of Dr.M.G.R. Educational and Research Institute University. It's my privilege to extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor, Ms. Monica Lohani, HR Transformation Consultant. We are really fortunate to have a multi talented personality with us today. Here I have some information to share with you all. There will be a feedback link which will be posted in the YouTube chat box at the end of the session. You all are requested to complete and submit the form before 6 p.m. today to instantly receive your certificates in your registered email. The link will be deactivated after 6 p.m. Dear participants, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the YouTube chat box. I'll bring them up to the presenter and we will also have time for the questions at the end. Heading to the program, may I now call upon an inspiring personality, Dr. J.M., Head of the Department, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Niveda. Transformation is a journey without a final destination. Merlin Ferguson with this wonderful quote. A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to one and all on behalf of the Department of Human Resource Management, Dr.M.G.R. Educational and Research Institute University for a webinar on digital transformation and the workplace. Heartfelt gratitude to our founder Chancellor Dr. A.C. Shanmugam and to our Honorable President Engineer A.C.S. Arun Kumar for their never-ending support and encouragement towards conducting various programs. It's my pleasure to welcome and thank our wonderful versatile resource person, Ms. Monica Lohani, HR professional consultant with 20 years of experience in building various HR organizations. She is an SHRM Senior Certified Professional in Human Resource. Besides, she is a very wonderful speaker who has given various talks at universities and colleges. We are so happy to have you today with us. Hearty welcome, ma'am. Pleasure is mine to thank our Joint Registrar, Mr. Prabhu, Dean Administration, Dr. K. Sendil Kumar, and to all the executives, deans, HODs, faculty members, and all others for your wonderful motivation and support for us in all the ways. A very warm to our young, dynamic, energetic Dean of Academics, Dr. A.R. Arunachalam, for his presence and support to us in all the ways. So welcome, sir. Welcome and thank to our wonderful technical support person, Mr. Ganesh Babu, who is always behind the screen, helping us and supporting us in making all the program a grand success. Digital transformation is the process of using the latest digital technologies to create new or modify the existing business processes, work culture, and customer experiences in an organization in order to meet the changing market and business needs. It's about transforming business processes, activities, competencies, and models to fully leverage the power of digital technologies and make changes to an organization in a prioritized and strategic way. As organizations move from paper processes to smart applications for managing their business through digital transformation, they have the opportunity to reimagine how they do business and how to better engage with their stakeholders. According to a survey, over 55% of the startups have already started adopting digital transformation, while 89% of the enterprises are planning to adopt or have already started implementing these digital transformation strategies for their business. The biggest misconception about this digital transformation is just adopting the latest technological trends which can help and make a company business processes faster and more efficient. Instead, what happens is that organizations are dumping loads of tools onto employees without proper training, best practices, or efficient integration with the existing tools. So technology alone cannot help a company to achieve this digital transformation. It is what the company chooses to do with that technology that truly creates a digital transformation, and at the heart of employee involvement in their day-to-day experience of a digital workplace. People and their experience with technology must be the focus of any digital transformation if it is to be complete and comprehensive according to the organization. So digital transformation is a powerful way to achieve greater collaboration, agility, efficiency, and productivity. So to make know much about this digital transformation, today we have a wonderful speaker, Ms. Monica Lohani with us. Hope this session will be an enriching session without taking much time. Once again, I welcome you all. So if you have not taken vaccination, kindly take vaccination, wear mask, maintain social distancing, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the warm welcome to the gathering. May I now call upon our respected Dean, Dr. Arunachalam, to deliver the felicitation address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So, very good afternoon to one and all connected here. On behalf of Dr.M.G.R Education Research Institute, Adayalampattu Phase II Campus, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar on digital transformation and workplace, which has been conducted by the Department of Human Resource Management. So, at this outset, I would like to thank our Honorable President, Engineer A.C. Arun Kumar sir, for his enormous support rendered towards us, and we really thank him for his kind approval today towards connecting this wonderful webinar through online mode. So next, I would like to congratulate the Department of Human Resource Management for taking up this initiative to conduct this webinar. The department has been organizing a lot of events every semester through online mode. And I think this is the first event of this particular semester, and especially the first event has been organized by the Department of Human Resource Management. So I would like to appreciate the head of the department, Dr. J.M., who is leading the department with the help of the faculty members, Ms. Ramya, Mrs. Niveda, Rajit, and as well as the technical support which has been provided by Mr. Ganesh Babu. So I think they have been exceptionally doing well, organizing a lot of webinars, FTP programs, technical talk by bringing a lot of resource people from different zones, different companies, choosing a very important topic. And today is again we have another important topic, which is the digital transformation and the workplace. So we have with us a multi-talented, experienced personality, Ms. Monica Lohani, who is all the way connected from Noida, who's an HR transformation consultant, who's going to talk about this particular topic. So I think this topic is the need for the hour. I think, as you all know, the role of digital technology is now playing a vital role, and especially during this pandemic period, I think the digital technology is helping us to a larger aspect, and most of the companies now they make use of the digital technology to add value to the business and provide effective services to the customers. So definitely, I think we have a lot of technologies now which has been evolved. We are making use of the cloud technology, and then we are making use of AI, machine learning, blockchain. So plenty of technologies are now coming. It's being used now, and I think most of the companies are effectively making use of these kind of the digital technologies. So today's speaker is going to talk more about this. I don't want to take much time. So definitely, this session is going to be a value-added session. So on behalf of Dr. H.R Education Research Institute, I appreciate the department, as well as I welcome all the participants for taking your time, spending your valuable time with us, registering for these kind of valuable webinars, and listening to people who have vast experience like today's resource person. So I really wish all the participants good luck, and wish this event a grand success, and also congratulate the department once again. So I thank the department for inviting me to talk a few words. All the best. Have a great day. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivating address. It's now time to introduce our eminent resource person, Ms. Monica Lohani, to the gathering. Ms. Ramya, Assistant Professor from the Department of Human Resource Management, will introduce our guest to us. Over to you, ma'am.
It's a great privilege to introduce our eminent and honorable chief guest for the day. Our speaker is an HR leader with over 20 years of progressive experience in building HR organizations that enrich human capital assets and strengthen business performance through employee experience, talent, excellence, and L&D. In her assignment with the software, she has driven strategy, operational excellence, people development, and high performance culture as director. Talent management. She is now an HR transformation consultant with multiple organizations focusing on HR strategy, leadership development, cultural change, and diversity management. Madam likes to spend her leisure time with students, pursuing professional courses in guiding, motivating, and educating them. Our speaker is an SHR, Senior Certified Professional in Human Resources. She is also a certified trainer and has been impacting knowledge through workshops, training programs, consultations, and webinars on various HR subjects. She has headed the POSH internal committee for over 5 years at IRIS. Many thanks, and I am humbled and honored for your presence here today, ma'am. On behalf of the department and our university, I wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya. Now, the most awaited time has arrived. Without any further delay, I welcome our guest of honor and speaker for the day to proceed with her presentation. Madam, we have no doubt that your experience talk is going to be an eye opener for all the participants today. Thank you so much once again for accepting our invitation and gracing this program with your wonderful presence as our resource person. I cordially invite you to enlighten the audience. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Arunachalam, Dr. Jayam, Niveda, and Ramya, for your welcome and such a lovely introduction. It's my pleasure to be addressing the audience from Dr.M.G.R. Educational and Research Institute platform, Digital Transformation, and what it means in the context of workplace and business is a topic which is very relevant and close to not just mine, but every professional and student's life. We may have started talking about it now, but it is not something that evolved courtesy the pandemic that the whole world is dealing with. It has always been there and will continue to be there in future as well. However, digital transformation has gathered pace many folds during the pandemic, considering that there is complete shift in ways of doing business, academics, jobs, and everything else. So, in this light, I would like to start off with my presentation. I just need a heads up from somebody in the university to confirm to me if I am audible enough.
Yes, ma'am. The audio is very much clear.
Okay, okay. So, just give me a moment and I will put on my presentation.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, so are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The
Can somebody
presentation is
just
visible
confirm?
now.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible now.
Okay, okay, great. So, here we go. So, this first statement that I say is very powerful, and this is going to be precisely the gist of everything that we are going to talk of in our in the next 40 to 50 minutes. And this basically states that digital transformation is less about technology and more about your business strategy. It is about your people, process, and data. Many a times what happens is that we get confused with a new technology coming into the market, and we are like, oh, this is a digital transformation that has happened, but that's not actually the case. A technology is just a support that is being provided in order to become digitally sound or transform yourself digitally. Okay, so the technology is to be looked at from that perspective, from that lens only. It should not be given excessive weightage. Of course, it is important. Out of the four parts which are important in the phrase called digital transformation, people, process, data, and technology, it certainly takes up 25 percentage of importance, but not 80%. So this is what we have to remember throughout. Now, here is some data that I am wanting to share with you, which goes to show that what prompts a digital transformation to be coming up. Okay, so is it the board of director demands? Very less, minimal. New entrants, yes, it is important, but again, it's not such a motivation that it will call for a digital transformation. To disrupt the market, okay. Improved earnings, yes. But what is most important is the competition offering digital experience. What others are able to offer to their customers as a digital experience. Are we close to that? Are we close to that, or are we ahead of that? If we are not ahead of that, and if we want to be ahead of that, then probably we are talking about a digital transformation. And then finally, of course, it is the customer demand, which means that what is the customer next looking out for. Okay, so we will get into finer details gradually, but before we move in there, let's first understand what is meant by a digital disruption. Well, digital disruption is something that that creates a total shift of paradigm, a complete shift. It's a clear shift from how things had been operating in the past. Okay, that is known as a disruption. I mean, that is the call for a disruption. That something is kind of, about to break, or is breaking, or has broken, and it can be handled only by bringing in a totally new thing. And many a times, and rather most of the times, the system may not have been broken, but if you break it purposefully to bring in a new aspect of that to the audience, then that is what is going to be cherished by your customers, by your people. Okay, so for example, Airbnb. When it came into existence, prior to that, everybody was traveling and booking their places in hotels and their known places, right? But Airbnb, after it's coming in, people are fine living in smaller accommodation, but which is catering to 100% of their requirements. The most of the population which was going to hotels is now staying in Airbnb. So naturally, the hotels are facing the music, of not being able to provide what their target audience was looking for. Likewise, the moment Uber came into existence, it captured the market share. Suddenly, the yellow and black taxis were out of action. They were not needed by their target audience, right? So that's the meaning of a digital transformation. Something massive happens. It's not an incremental change. If it is an incremental change, we will not be able to call it a digital transformation. Okay, moving further, I hope you are able to see my next slide, which talks about the key drivers of digital transformation. So again, it is one more version of where we were. Here I was showing you some data, and this is another research, another study, which gives some more information. Okay, so if I start from the bottom, it says that decline in business performance is a very smaller indicator of the need for a digital transformation. Okay, lack of expertise, literacy, and understanding of digital trends. These are normal, these keep happening in whenever you are working in an organization or an institute or a school or wherever. You will very often you will face the lack of expertise or the understanding of digital trends. But if you bring that into the system, it doesn't mean that you have digitally transformed your systems. What means to digitally transform is when there are growth opportunities in the new markets which we have not been able to tap yet because we are lacking in some transformation. And evolving customer behaviors and preferences. Okay, now evolving customer behavior and preferences, I would like to explain to you with the help of another slide. I will leave your thought here and will move on to the next slide now, here, which is talking about how banking has evolved. So, digital transformation in banking, I'm sure many of us would have gone to some nationalized bank like Punjab National Bank or Indian Bank or maybe Canara Bank with some of our elders in the family, and the usual experience would have been of going to the bank physically, waiting in long queues for your turn to come, then being addressed by the person who may be having a frown on his or her face, and then but whatever the solution to your problem is being suggested, then again you go back, then you come back, and there are two three such interactions happening, and then finally your work is done. If you're talking about having FDs done or transfers or loans, these have been longish affairs. Now, if we compare that with newish banks, say ICICI or HDFC, they have drastically changed the user experience. What happens is that first of all, you are not needed to visit the bank. You have a feeling that the bank is at your fingertips. You feel that being a customer, I am the king, and for any problem that I'm facing or any service that I require from the bank, I'm getting a customized solution. It is not a canned solution which has been prepared and is being passed on, to everybody who's coming for the same problem. They are the people who know their customers really well. They have a 360-degree view of their customers. Why? Because any of the services, even if you have taken one service from that bank, let's say ICICI, you are a member of that bank, and then Prudential and Direct, everybody else will also have an access to the information which is available with ICICI Bank. And the moment you need to open uh, an online account for your shares and all, they will immediately be able to pull out everything, every vital information which was required for that. For example, they know your net worth, they will know your usual patterns of earnings and spend and savings, and they know your preferences. So keeping all of that in mind, they are able to see that they will be able to give a clear cut solution to your problem, and within minutes probably you will be done and dusted. Your interaction with the bank will be totally hassle free, and within minutes maybe your problem will be sorted. So uh, so that is able to now, this comparison that I have drawn, there is a reason why I did that, and that's because on one hand there is a bank which is just living its legacy, and on the other hand there is this bank which is the choice of its customers. They are literally flourishing. And why are they able to do so? Because they have been able to understand the need of their customer. In the beginning I said there are four parts of digital transformation: people, process, data, and technology, right? So they focused on what their people needed, What is the need? I mean, I remember about 20 years back, it was a breakthrough that the ABN AMRO Bank was able to provide us cash. They were able to deliver the cash. I mean, whatever I wanted to take out of my account, they were able to deliver it either at my office or at my residence, the two addresses that I had already registered with them. At any point of time, within few hours, they'll deliver the cash. I didn't need to go to the bank or to the ATM, right? That was about 20 years back, but they did not stop there. There are other banks also which started thinking about what next, what more, what is my customer needing, and they were able to time and again, they were able to cater to all the requirements. So right now there are targeted messaging also which is happening, which is like a person who's at the age bracket of 25 to 30 has different needs from the person who's between 40s and 50, who's in his or her 40s, and the person who's in his or her 70s. So depending upon what age group you are and what your investment or saving patterns are, targeted messages are being sent out. They are able to upsell or cross sell their products to the right audience, and that they are able to do very seamlessly. And likewise, the customer is also happy to engage with them. They have an engaged set of customers, right? So they focused on the four aspects of digital transformation. It's not just technology that they looked at. They looked at the other aspects also. Their processes are so streamlined. Historically, we all know that getting a loan sanctioned used to be a humongous task, but these banks have made it very seamless. So that's how they have evolved. Their processes have evolved. And the data which is there at one place is a repository which is there, which is being used for all the other peripheral services also. Okay, so that's how we are able to take care of all the four aspects when we take an example of banking. Now, moving further, let's see what all we are going to cover today in the next about 30 minutes or something. So we are taking examples of digital disruption. Bank is one, and there are going to be many more. I am trying my best to explain the concept with the help of examples, which are going to be close to your understanding and which will make a better sense in understanding the concept. Then, what are the strategic drivers? We just talked about them, and the data and analytics and the impact on the business processes. Business processes are pretty important, and we have to take that also into account. Then the transformative potential of the disruptive technologies. There are certain technologies which are usual, there are certain technologies which can be called as disruptive, and these disruptive technologies have a transformative potential. So we have to understand that. Again, I'll be able to help you understand that with the help of some examples. Then in this context, what design thinking means, and whenever we are talking about design thinking, we will not be able to complete it unless we talk about making the organization agile. Okay, so we are going to talk about that. Then uh, then exploring the possibilities that data can bring and acquire the know-how to use data as a strategic asset in your digital transformation plan. How important it is to use the data available or create that data to have an effective digital transformation plan. Okay, and then in order to do all this, there needs to be a very strong leadership. We call, in today's time, we call it digital leadership. We are particularly hiring chief digital officers in different organizations to address that. So there are certain skills which are required to handle this kind of a portfolio. We will talk about that. And we will also talk about the platform businesses which have brought in a breakthrough into the system and have led to digital disruptions and as a result, digital transformations. Okay, moving further. Now, here comes another view of how the work life has changed during the pandemic. So what happened during this pandemic phase in last 1.5 2 years, there has been a certain increase in the work from home culture. The online collaboration has drastically increased, and the knowledge sharing through platforms is also increasing, right? And what has decreased is the face time. We are exchanging knowledge right now, but there is very little face time. There is, I'm sitting in North India, you are there in South India, and there are many people who are in different other parts of the country and the world also. Uh, but we are all together, right? So this is the situation that we are in. Things are moving, work is happening, and in many of the situations work is happening more than how it used to happen before. But what is important to discuss here is the way of life, how things have changed. So when we are doing meetings in March 2020, which is when the pandemic had not hit, before that time, interviews were happening through Skype. Important meetings were happening through Skype or GoToMeeting or Cisco's WebEx or Blue Jeans. But the favorite one, the most favorite one, was the face-to-face meetings. Then came the time of pandemic when it was at its peak, December 2020. Very few organizations and institutes were physically operational, and everybody else was operating remotely. So that's when Zoom came into much use. WebEx continued to be there, Blue Jeans continued to be there, StreamYard also became popular. And then in December 2021, which means until last month, I'm saying, Microsoft Teams has taken over most of the target market because this is very comfortable. This is very helpful to the people who are wanting to do meetings, and also because MS Teams is directly connected to Outlook. So that is a big facilitation that it is providing. It is allowing you to save knowledge also over there, save information. So next point is about knowledge sharing. Earlier we were using SharePoint, then we used Google Drive because it wasn't very expensive, and we were just figuring out somewhere in December 2020 what way we should go, how long should it take, are we likely to get back to the SharePoint world, or we have to move further. So finally it was decided that no, MS Teams is going to be a solution here as well. And then we're talking about learning. So again, like face-to-face meetings, classroom learning sessions were our favorite sessions. We thought that learning can happen only when the knowledge imparter is able to look into the eyes of the viewer or the audience, and vice versa. But things have changed now, and at that stage also, for the mandatory training programs, uh, people had understood that there is no point investing same time, same resource every time this mandatory training needs to be conducted. Many a times, depending upon the size of the organization, the mandatory trainings like ISMS and QMS, and there could be various other functional trainings also for which are needed by different teams or different organizations very regularly. Some may be required on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, or whatever. So recordings were created and they were provided to people. And then came the trend of having curation, meaning the training need identification and training need analysis was done, and a list of training programs was churned out which was needed by people in different roles. And based on that, excuse me, based on that, training programs were curated, meaning XYZ training is needed for people in role A, B, and C, and some other trainings are needed for some other roles. So those training programs were identified, were made available to the target audience, and the target audience were told that, hey, you go to this location and you attend to these trainings or a part of these trainings, and once you are done, once you get the certificate, you can get it reimbursed through us. So that is the basic concept of curation. Okay, rather than physically the resources being engaged, a time being blocked, you provide the knowledge, and that packet, that bundle can be opened up by the learner at any time of their convenience, and they could uh, you know uh, get trained, get their knowledge enhanced at their convenience. Okay, then in December 2020, along with all these things, classroom, of course, had drastically reduced, but with curation and some of the online recordings, live online sessions also started taking place more than before, which means that the trainer was sitting at one location, trainees everywhere else, and at one particular time, this session is happening, and they had to log into their systems, and the exchange of knowledge happens. Now, since end of last year and even now, and maybe a little before that, the new trend has come up in L&D, which is the learning platforms. The learning platforms have come into existence, which are various LMS. Different organizations have come up with different LMS. Some have created their own, some have purchased them from the market, and then there are mobile apps also associated to that. So this is the latest, and we will talk about L&D in one of the upcoming slides also. Okay, so although we know what a digital workplace is, but just for a quick gathering, let's look at it. That it's a when we call something as a digital workplace, it's an availability of social and collaborative tools, like we are using StreamYard right now. People are going to view this webinar on YouTube going forward, and then whosoever wants to talk about it will talk about it on, say, LinkedIn or Facebook or WhatsApp groups, whatever. Okay, so these are the social and collaborative tools. Collaborative, of course, are there. Communication and messaging apps, cloud storage tools to save the data, corporate internet platforms, we know that, knowledge management systems where everything is stored very nicely and you can pull out as and when you require any piece of knowledge. Documentation, sharing, and storing. So there are various ways of doing that, content management systems, and internal and external content sharing tools. Okay, so now in the light of this whole thing, let us see how the government schools have evolved from the historic times to now. I'd say there has been a clear shift from private schools to government schools in the last 2 years. And this year, they say that one of the surveys is saying that there has been about 70% rise in admissions to the government schools, and there is about 24% dip in enrollments in private schools. And I'm sure there is going to be some real good reason why this is happening. Probably because the government schools have started doing very good in the past. And why I say so is because till about 2018, when nobody had any clue about what a pandemic is going to be, if there is going to be any such pandemic, and how it feels, what it means in literal way, nobody knew about it. Yet at that stage also, the government schools were all equipped with digital screens, smart boards, personal tabs to the teachers were being provided, and there were computer labs which were set up by the Rotary Club, and teachers were engaged with their students for about 7 hours on an average. Okay, this was already happening, right? This is not something which has happened because of pandemic. Now, in when the pandemic came up in about 2020, all this was happening, and online classes had suddenly picked up. Teachers were trying to figure out, the educational institutes were trying to figure out how it needs to be done and for how long we have to go through this change. And while it was being done, the classes started happening on Zoom and Google Meet. Yeah, but since the pandemic was not going anywhere and it stayed with us, and right now we are talking about the third phase of it in 2022,
Right now, the situation is that teachers are so equipped with the online teaching methodology that they are creating their lectures. Everyday lectures are being created by them on their laptops or on their personal tabs, and they are delivering them very well from there. Every day the attendance is being taken, and exams are happening, papers are being checked, the marks are being uploaded, the ptms are happening, and all this is happening, most of it is happening through ms teams. And that 7 hours connect which used to be there between the teachers and the students has now turned into 17 hours connect. So, although we hear many people talking about the education system going through a fall, and students are having a very tough time understanding, learning anything during this pandemic period. But think about it, had these schools and also colleges for that matter not evolved technically and had not started thinking big, and that thought process had not gone in, where would the students have been now? Let's say after 6 months from now, the pandemic situation is completely taken care of. But the schools or colleges opening after about 2.5 years, which classes had they admitted their students to? In the class where they had left, or in the class where they should have been now? And all this while, students would have totally forgotten everything that they had learned in the past had the schools not been functional. So I'd say, of course, 100% could not happen and has not happened, but we can say that at least 60-70% of learning has still happened, and that is the best that we can think of under a pandemic situation right now. Schools, colleges have evolved really very well, and all this because they could have a mindset of change, and they accepted, they were receptive to what was happening around them, and they were, strong enough, bold enough to take good actions and not, lean back and wait to see what happens next. So I would say school is a very good example of how things have moved on, and what you see here is a transition, and a lot of it is a digital transition. Okay, when we talk of digital transition and we have already started talking of technologies, then let's quickly run through what are the various disruptive technologies, and what role are they playing in our lives today. So there is cloud computing that is happening, and cloud computing, we all know Office 365, Google Drive, Salesforce, Slack, and stuff like that. They are being used to save our stuff on the cloud and use it from there. Then come the mobile applications. So at this point of time, all our shopping is happening through mobile applications. We are very well connected to one another through social media apps. We go on Instagram, we go on Facebook, we go on WhatsApp. So these are the usual ones. Twitter is also there. There are various others, right? And there's a large population who's into gaming. So they have a variety of game apps. Educational apps are also there. So likewise, artificial intelligence can be broken into various parts, which are like NLP and machine learning, right? And yeah, and these are the examples which are like Siri. So Siri and Cortana, they are able to understand human language. And so these are, when we talk of artificial intelligence, we mean that we are making our systems so intelligent as an intelligent human being. Okay, so it's like a human to human conversation. When you're talking to Siri, you really feel as though you're talking to another human being who's trying her best to help you out. Okay, so likewise, there are various other things also. In when we come to Internet of Things, Amazon Alexa also listens to you, and then you listen to what it has to offer to you. And we have our biometric cybersecurity scanners. They are also a part of Internet IoT and augmented and virtual reality. So through this, we are able to create very good training programs. Simulation. I remember about 20 years back also, there used to be a wonderful training program created by American Express for their information security. So, so things have been there, but they are becoming more and more common, and they are, taking people from one level to a totally different level, right? The experience is very different. Okay. Now, here comes another example. So, this example is about the shipping business. So, shipping business is extremely manual. It's a very old business. It's all across the globe and it's completely manual, meaning that cargo cannot move across the globe until and unless the papers, the relevant papers, are also moving, physically moving with them. So there have time and again there have been smaller organizations, I mean startups, which challenged this model, and Flexport being one of them, had in 2013 had suggested and came up with a seamless digital offering to its customers with complete visibility of the cargo as well as the papers and everything. And so 2013 to 2017, this kept happening. In 2017, Maersk, which is a large conglomerate in the shipping business, came up with another product called Twill. So Trill and Flexport both were self-service platforms that fetch data from backend, and and they're very similar to online booking platforms. And life had been happening, things are moving, and cargo is going from place to place. Right now, Maersk has started taking it at a very different level in terms of their understanding of the whole business, and they are coming up with a blockchain based game changing solution to shipping business. Now, what is blockchain? Blockchain is the same technology which came into existence, which was invented for the Bitcoin thing. Now it is being used for various other important aspects. So it's into mainly into ledgers and all. And so this platform called Trade Lens is a neutral platform where all shipping lines, ports, and trucking companies are listed, and this information is freely available, will be freely available to all its registered users, and they'll be able to you know do business at a much easier pace. So if that happens, and when that happens, and it is already in the making, this product called Trade Lens, when this happens, it is going to be a complete game changer. And that's how we will be calling it, as a digital transformation through blockchain, as one of the very important technologies. So, integrating technology to enhance the customer experience gives companies the opportunity to make users' needs add more value and increase revenue growth. So, this is the real gist of this is what the technology has to add to it. But first of all, they need to understand the needs of the user, they need to meet the needs of the user. So, in this example, also, they have started to understand the needs of the user, and they are working towards making that happen. In this example of government schools also, we talked about what our students needed, what our teachers needed, what the education system needed, and everybody responded to it. And our data supported that, our processes were enhanced, completely changed, our people were upgraded, their knowledges were upgraded, and all this happened with the help of technology. Coming back to where I left, now talking about some of the IT organizations, so professional services and IT consulting companies have been using artificial intelligence big time. There are various examples. They have been using robotics for autofilling of forms. There is data which is already existing in various pockets. That data is being channelized to fill up important forms. For example, a PF form. It's a big form and nobody would love to, fill it up. So when the employee the new employee has already filled up an application form to be a part of that organization, all that data is available with the organization. That form for PF account creation is being auto filled through with the use of robotics. So but this is again an old thing, it's nothing new, huh? I'm just saying that this is also one way of uh, artificial intelligence being used by IT and professional services. There are chatbots which are being used to answer standard questions pertaining to policies. These could be frequently asked questions. Wherever you have a set of FAQs, you can link it to one database of answers, and the chatbot is going to answer to them. No human intervention would be required. And then there are facial recognition apps which are being used at the when they are welcoming the guests at the reception. So historically a register used to be signed that I am so and so coming from so and so location. This is my address, this is my phone number, and I wish to meet so and so. This is my time to come into your organization, and this is when I'm leaving. So instead of that register entry, an app is being created, and what happens is that the person simply puts in few details, very few details, and the picture is clicked by the app, and that picture is being mapped with WhatsApp, with Facebook, and various other social sites, and the additional information is auto pulled out from there, and the form gets filled, and all that the person has to do is to verify that information, put in a sign in, and then promptly get into the premises, right? These are few examples. Then there are examples of setting up early warning systems and sending emails to the auto emails to the stakeholders. For example, let's say I wish to greet all my employees on their birthdays. So I may miss on, seeing that data on a daily basis, even if it is a small organization. Forget about it being a large organization and somebody doing it manually. So what happens is that for that week or that day, depending upon how soon we need it, the emails are being planned, and they get created automatically, and they are being sent to the stakeholders at the right time. Okay, so this is also happening. Then heat maps, which are showing the red, amber, and green status of, I mean, it could be the employee satisfaction also, for which the heat maps and the RAG status is being taken. It could be there for sales also, automating the sales data to get projections on a daily basis to see how the month will end. So these are some of the examples of how artificial intelligence is being used by different IT organizations and consulting organizations. Now quickly moving on to the platform businesses. I am broadly categorizing platform businesses into these four parts, which are aggregation platforms. These are like Amazon, Etsy, eBay, which are helping us. They aggregate the information, the products, and we end up buying through them. Then we have social platforms, and we know all about it. And then there are mobilization platforms. What it means is that there could be this is just an example, and there could be many other mobilization platforms also. So an open source software platform like Linux or Apache is available to everyone. Anybody can use it, and but through that there are various other business models that arise. Then there are learning platforms. So there are LMS, CMS, knowledge management systems like Adobe, Captivate Prime, and SAP, Litmos, Thinkific, Udemy. These are being used on Udemy. You can do trainings on Thinkific. You can create training content, right? Then there are various LMS where you can upload the training content, and you can have the trainings created also over there. Okay. Now, since we were on the last thing called learning platforms, I am expanding it a bit in another slide, and I would want to talk about how the L&D function has evolved over a period of time. So again, I have categorized that as pre-pandemic and post-pandemic period, and it only indicates that things have speeded up because of the pandemic. They are not resulting because of the pandemic, and now going forward, pandemic or no pandemic, there is going to be a new normal, and they such things which are mentioned under post-pandemic are going to be there to stay. Okay, so first let's see how pre-pandemic was happening. So in one of the earlier slides also we talked about traditional classroom trainings being the best choice for any of the trainers as well as trainees as well as the management. And then came the recorded online training sessions, then came the gamified training sessions, then came the curated training sessions. We've talked about them. We will not expand on that anymore because our time is also running out. And now, in the post pandemic period, we are having various online live training programs. There are learning platforms and mobile apps. So, learning platform is a breakthrough in the L&D function. What happens when the learning platform comes is that the trainer is not really needed on that particular day when the training is happening. Why? Because first of all, the if we have 50 trainers, those 50 trainers can have a different time choice or day choice or the location choice or the device choice. Okay. And it's just that the training material is to be there. It can be interactive, it can be live, it can be recorded, but it needs to be there, and all that is required is the need by the trainer to open that and start learning. So this is what learning platform means. Here we can upload our curated content. Some content can be provided by the creator of the platform, and some training content can be created by the buyer of that training platform, and that can be uploaded there. Okay, and then there can be some mobile apps which are related to the learning platforms, or they can be standalones also. I mean, there are some learning platforms which are available only on mobile apps also. So here I'd like to talk briefly about a product called Lex created by Infosys. So this has been a major breakthrough. Infosys, employees at Infosys and the management at Infosys is really excited about launching that and using that, and they are selling it to many of the international customers also. So here, as I said, like most of the other learning platforms, you can create your own material, you can upload your curated material, and some material can already be available, which is of generic nature. Okay, and what happens when you are doing trainings through platforms is that nobody from the L&D function is needed to take attendance, take feedback physically, run after people to make sure that the forms are being filled right after the training, and then 3 months down the line there is feedback, training effectiveness evaluation which has to happen. So everything will happen automatically. You just have to plan the training program, upload it in a complete way there, and the data will also keep on auto flowing, and then it's like not much of human interface is required. Reports can be generated and can be utilized to understand how things are happening, right? So other than that, there are some platforms which are already available, and they are less customized, and they are generic, and they are available to everybody. They are like Upgrad or LinkedIn for Business or Coursera for Business or Udemy for Business or Thinkific, where we can create the content. And there are many more also. This is a small list that I have given here. Okay, now after having these many examples of digital transformation, I think we are pretty clear on what it means. Uh, we are certainly not talking about an incremental change in the way of working or in the output that we are likely to get, or maybe the input also, but it's a big leap, right? It is something which is calling in for a major breakthrough. So, in order to have a digital transformation happening, there needs to be a strategy roadmap. It's a big project. As I said in the beginning, also, we need to have dedicated team available to lead the digital transformation mission. So, first of all, a business assessment needs to happen. We need to understand what problem are we going to solve. Is it really worth it? So, in the beginning, we let me go back to that slide. Here, we talked about growth opportunities in new market and evolving customer behavior and preferences and increased competitive pressure, right? These three are possibly the main reasons which would lead to uh, the need for digital transformation. So we have to understand those three, four, five aspects at length and evaluate what needs to really change. Based on that, we have to research the industry trends and competition, how things have been happening in the industry in the past and in the present, what is the future, and then based on all of that, create a delivery plan. When the delivery plan is created, you have to define and prioritize digital initiatives. So this is the stage when we start talking about taking the digital initiatives. And once the digital initiatives have been planned and prioritized, a budget plan needs to be defined, because such a transformation may require big budgets and will require big budgets. And then finally creating a resource plan and then getting on to the journey of digital transformation and leading it to success. As I said earlier also, that talking about digital transformation will be incomplete without talking about design thinking, and design thinking will be incomplete without talking about agile transformation. So let's stick on to the design thinking part, and let's see what it means. I have put it very simply, and it means that first you have to understand the problem. You have to understand the problem from the eyes and views of your end customer. Deeply understand the problem and then develop possible solutions. So when developing possible solutions, it is not the best solution that we are talking of here, it is a set of solutions. So we have to brainstorm, we have to ideate, we have to think about what can be the possible options. So even a wild thought is not going to be a bad thought. Let's have all such solutions there in front of us and choose the one which sounds the best to you, and prototype it. Prototype means it's a draft. It's a draft of the solution that you think. It's a rough sketch, rough draft. Then after creating the prototype, test it on the real target audience, not the 100% population, but a small part of it. So in IT, we call it piloting. So you pilot a project, you pilot an initiative, you pilot a solution on a small target audience. Suppose we have to bring in a change in the entire induction program of the organization. So rather than signing up for changing it overnight for all the upcoming induction programs for the next 1 year, we would say that this is a set of uh, newcomers on joining on an XYZ date, people joining on this date or within these two dates, between these two dates, they will be going through this new kind of induction program, and after that a big a good feedback will be sought from them. Okay, and based on that feedback, it will be enhanced further, again tested, refined, and tested, and finally, we reach we will not even realize when we reach the implementation stage, and there will not be any surprises that come our way when we implement after prototyping and testing and refining it. Okay, we on the websites also, there are many websites where we go and we see that this is the beta version of it. So what is happening? They have they have started off with something, they are collecting a feedback and they are enhancing it, and then finally one day they'll say that okay, now we are full on over there. So when we talk of design thinking, we only become the designers. So we all are designers. And what we have to do is, it's similar to what I have said here, but it's a little more extended version of the previous model that I showed. So we start with empathizing with our end customer. What my end customer expects of me, what is going to be the best solution that I can offer. So you have to define that, and then you have to, the solutions are to be, first the problem statement is to be defined, and then solutions are to be ideated, and then a prototyping happens, and then the testing, and then the implementation. So this is what we do when we are into design thinking. This is a deep concept, but in the interest of everybody's time, I'm keeping it pretty short, and I'm directly relating it to the topic, which is of prime importance to us today, and hence I move forward to agile transformation. Now, what is agile? There is a technology also called agile, by the way, and I'm not referring to that here. I'm talking about being agile. Okay, practicing agile. So how does that happen? That happens in various parts. First of all, we have to have a mindset. We have to have an agile mindset, meaning we have to think on the ground. We have to be fast. We have to be adaptive. We have to be embracing the complexity. There are three mindsets which are mentioned here on the right side of the slide, and this is what is meant when we talk about the mindset of an agile transformation. So when we say embracing complexity, I think this corona has given a very good example of it being a complex world, and of showing us the reality that there is practically very less in our control, very less in our hands.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Then
Sorry
there
for
is,
the interruption.
yes,
Sorry for the interruption, ma'am. We are running short of time now,
okay,
so I
okay.
kindly request you to finish the presentation as early as possible.
How much time do I have?
Ma'am, I think we have to finish another 10 minutes. So
Okay,
meanwhile, we should also conduct a question and answer session as well.
I see, I see. So I'll take another 2 3 minutes and I'll wind it off. Will that be
Sure,
fine?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am,
Great.
absolutely. Thank you so
Great.
much.
My pleasure. So yes, I'll need to move in a bit faster. So these are the mindsets which are required. That this world is complex. The problems that we have to face, professionally or personally, they are complex. So we have to embrace complexity. And keeping that in mind, we have to ideate our solutions. We have to embrace self learning teams, which means that being the managers, being the bosses, we don't have to take this on our shoulders only, that all the decisions are to be taken by us. We have to have self learning teams. We have to have self sufficient teams. We have to have team members who are experts in their respective areas, who are able to handle their domains the best. And the role of the bosses is to facilitate, is to help them with learning more, and is to help them with the problems whenever, as and when they are stuck, and basically to facilitate. Okay, uh, all the decision making should be taken by the people who are there on the ground, right? And then the mindset of embracing adaptive and iterative strategy. This is what agile really means. This is what is meant when we are talking about testing and refining, prototyping, and then implementing. Okay, so this is the iterative strategy. So moving further, let's see that in order to lead this whole thing, we have to have a person who is digitally sound. We have to have leadership from the digital background. So I did a quick survey with some leaders in different organizations, and here is what I get as their feedback. As these are the terms and phrases and the skills and the qualities which are being looked out for in digital leaders. These are for personal leadership, right? So before we do team leadership, we have to be masters of our own. We have to do self leadership, right? We have to manage ourselves best. So collaborate, agile, data driven, artificial intelligence, customer focused, innovative, and curious, diversity, think beyond boundaries, machine learning, create futuristic systems. These are some of the things that I got. Moving further, now when the digital leader is leading the team, they have to make sure that they are able to establish digital leadership. They are technically sound that ways. Getting your team on board, the team, they should be able to make the team understand that this is a big change that we look forward to. These are the new skills which will be required. These are the new ways of working, right? And this is what we have to understand out of our people. Cultivate a culture of innovation. Make better decisions with data. So data here is very important. Any decisions which you are making, if you're basing them on the data that is available, they are going to be better decisions as compared to the intuition based decisions. And invest in employee trainings. Of course, this needs to be done. So summary, I think we all know. I will now quickly jump on to my last slide. Here you see an iceberg. And what I'll say about digital transformation is that right now you are seeing just the tip of the iceberg. What you are seeing under digital transformation, there is a lot of hue and cry about digital transformation. We all talk about it day in and day out. We want to bring it into our systems. But what right now you see is just the tip. There is a whole world of digital transformation that awaits you, and the future will unfold it for you. That's going to be the new normal. And the other way of looking at this iceberg is also that right now our general perception is that digital transformation is nothing but a change of technology, a new technology which comes in, uh, is kind of the biggest possible change that we are seeing. But actually technology is just supporting, it is a supporting arm for the changes that we have to see in our people, in our processes, in our data. We have to handle these three so well, and in order to handle them well, we take the help of technology. But first of all, that thinking has to go into it, right? So my request to everybody listening to me right now is that every time we are talking about digital transformation, just remember the iceberg and revise to yourself the two thoughts which came to my mind also. Thank you so much. This is all that I had to say. I am now open for question and answers if there are any.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear participants, if you have any queries or questions to ask, please post them in the YouTube comment box. Our speaker will be ready to answer to your questions. I repeat, dear participants, if you have any questions or queries to ask, please post them in the YouTube comment box.
Do we have any questions?
No, ma'am. As of now, we don't have any questions.
I
I
just hope
repeat.
nobody, I just hope people didn't go off to sleep.
No, ma'am. The session was very interesting and informative as well.
Thank you. Actually, this is a very
Especially,
big topic, and 1 hour is actually much lesser to cover it in real sense. But at least a flavor can be shared. That's the whole concept of it being a webinar.
especially your explanations were amazing because in between you were giving some lifetime examples so that it was very easy for us to understand as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, ma'am. We don't have any questions as of now. So, with your permission, can I proceed further?
Please do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Please.
you so much. Appreciation is the highest form of encouragement. Our resource person, Miss Monica, has lived up to our expectations and has given her best to enlighten the participants with her deep knowledge and profound abilities. It is hence becomes a bound privilege and duty on behalf of our esteemed university to appreciate her for the selfless sharing of knowledge to the academic community. I now request Ms. Ramya to display the appreciation certificate as a token of her immense gratitude.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. With that being said, I deem it a great privilege to be asked to extend a word of thanks on this wonderful occasion. The very presence of our honorary guest, Ms. Monica Lohani, in today's program, in spite of her extremely busy schedule, is a reflection of the importance that is attached to the commitment of the work to quality augmentation. We all are inspired by your gracious presence, madam. I would also like to take this opportunity to express our hearty thanks to the management and our Honorable President, Engineer ACS Arun Kumar Sir, for his continuous support and guidance he has extended to all of us at the department. I thank our Joint Registrar, Mr. Prabhu, and our Dean, Dr. Arunachalam Academic, and Dr. Senthil Kumar Administration for their enormous support and guidance in conducting various programs. I thank Dr. R.J.M., HOD, HRM, for providing me with this wonderful opportunity to deliver the formal vote of thanks. I also thank Ms. Ramya for introducing our chief guest. It was a stunning profile. Thanks to Ms. Vasanti and Ms. Amuda for lending their helping hands in conducting various programs of this kind. I also thank um our technical team, our technical support, Mr. Ganesh Babu for his never-ending support and cooperation. Last but never the least, I thank our registrants for making this event a resounding success. Dear participants, we are really overjoyed with the support you are rendering to all of our programs. Thank you very much, as it is because of you all we are able to organize many successful programs for the learning community. The feedback and assessment form is available in the YouTube comment section. You are requested to complete and submit the form before 6 p.m. today. Later, the form will be deactivated. The e-certificate for participation will be sent to your registered email immediately. We have come to an end of the program. Hope everyone has gained knowledge. With the satisfaction of presenting a good webinar, we wish to sign off and meet you all in the next program. Don't forget to submit your feedback form and subscribe our YouTube channel, Dr.M.G.R. University Phase II Digital Learning, and also follow our department Instagram, Dr.M.G.R underscore HRM 2019. We are also available in Facebook, Dr.M.G.R HRM, and Twitter, Dr.M.G.R HRM 2019 for further updates about our programs and videos. Thank you.